What's good, guys? Today I'll be replacing my transmission mount in my W204 C63. This process is pretty similar among all W204s. I'm not sure if the AMGs have a different mount itself. Kind of interesting. The part number is 231, suggesting it is a 231 SL part, but in fact it fits quite a lot of cars. Currently the part I have there is an AMG OEM part, so it actually has an AMG logo on it. This is the exact same thing, I believe. Just no AMG logo, so it's quite a lot cheaper on FCP Euro. Alright, here we are below my C63. There are the secondary cats right there where it's resonators, camera which ones. But anyway, here's that chassis brace I was talking about. There's the transmission mount with the AMG logo. That is the front of the car in that direction. I've got a jack with a piece of wood kind of supporting the trans by the pan, because we will be taking this brace out, which I believe is pretty heavy actually. So as you can see here, the 6 E12s, there are 3 on each side. I've already loosened them. And then of course down here there are 3 13 millimeters. Got to take all those out, and then we'll have this mount exposed basically. And then there are 2 16 millimeters on the mount itself, which we'll have to take off after the fact. And yeah, then we can take the entire mount off and put the new one in, a reverse process. Alright, I got that chassis brace off. It is quite heavy, so just be careful with that. Don't let it fall on your face if you're like me on jack stands. You don't really have a ton of space to work with. I only have the front of the car lifted up, so that's probably why. But now we have to remove these 2 16 millimeter bolts. Now this mount actually doesn't look too bad. It does have a little bit of play in it, but that's kind of normal. But to really fully be able to tell, I have to take it off and just make sure. I'm literally doing this. I took my car in for an alignment, and the dealership said, "Oh, your transmission mount is shot." And I was like, "Okay." That could have easily been just a tactic to them to try and get to milk some money out of me, but I was just like, "No, I'll just do it, myself. It's not that hard to do. I'll save a lot of money by doing that." And they were like, "Okay." So I'm doing it now, and it seems to be okay. I would not be surprised if it's totally fine, but I'll replace it anyways because I have the part, and we're already at this point. So let's keep going. 2 16 millimeters, and then take it off, put the new one on. And here's what it looks like with no mount in place. Now I've got the old mount right over here. It honestly doesn't seem that bad. It seems pretty normal actually. I wouldn't even consider this shot at all. Are there some small cracks in it? Yes, there are. So I'm not really sad about replacing it. I'm cool with it, but it does not really have any more play than this new one does. So I think they're going to take me for a ride. So really not that bad. Mind you, this car only has 38,000 miles, so it kind of makes sense that it would not be shot. So I'm just going to install this new one anyways, and I'll tell you guys the torque specs, or the rough torque specs, in a moment. And there we have it. Got the new mount in. Everything's all snugged up. So for the 2 aluminum bolts up here that connect the actual mount to the trans, it's going to be 40 Newton meters, so really not a lot of torque. And then for the 3 13 millimeter screws or bolts that connect the brace to the mount, there's going to be 25 Newton meters. And then I really just cannot find any torque specs for these E12s. They're not aluminum, so I wasn't really that concerned about it. So I just kind of tightened them kind of in a crisscross manner to kind of evenly spread out the torque. And I just tightened them as far as they could go because they were pretty tight on there to begin with. So other than that, that's essentially it. I can now lower this part as it's no longer need to carry the weight of the transmission, and then we can lower the car back down and we should be all set. Also just wanted to mention I used some blue Loctite on the threads. I'm just going to make sure that the threads are all locked in there. It did seem like there was some sort of thread locker on there before, so from production, because I'm assuming this has never been taken off since the car was built. So keep that in mind. Probably a good thing to do anyways. So it's pretty funny taking a look at this old transmission mount. It really is basically a new transmission mount. It does not really show any signs of major wear. Like I said, there were some tiny little cracks kind of there. It's kind of hard to see. But even the new one probably had some small ones in there. Nothing to talk about really. This is only a 5-year-old mount, and 38,000 miles really means nothing for these things. But it just kind of goes to show, dealerships, no matter what car you have, but especially Mercedes, BMW, Audi, they can take you for a ride because parts are expensive, labor is expensive, so this really wasn't a big deal at all. And kind of the thing with transmission mounts is that, especially at least for these cars, is that you can't really tell when they've gone bad. Maybe some slight more vibration, but there really shouldn't be a huge difference. But if it is collapsed, you can actually shred up your diff or the drive line. It won't be lined properly, so you can cause some major damage if this does go bad. However, I don't think mine was bad, as you can kind of see here. It looks pretty much fine. So if you guys can do this kind of work by yourself, you'll save a lot of money. And on the chance that yours actually is damaged, you will be doing a pretty good thing for your car. So if you're kind of up there in mileage, I'd say maybe around 60,000, 70,000. That's not really high, but higher than what I got over here. I just consider replacing this. Not too expensive, very easy to do, does not take very much time, just a little bit of a hassle. But yeah, hopefully this helped you out, and let me know if it did.